I'm Daniel Kowall.
And I'm Tali Kowall.
We're with Kowall Boutique Real Estate and eXp Realty. Has the market hit the bottom in the city of Calgary? Watch till the end to find out.
Please enjoy our December 2022 residential real estate market update for the city of Calgary. Residential sales in Calgary for the month of November 2022 saw a reduction to 1,648 units, an overall 22% reduction to this time last year. However, this wasn't enough to erase the gains that we saw overall in the year, as sales were still 12% above the last 10-year average. Most of the declines were seen in detached housings, while row townhouses and condos have seen a huge surge. Increased interest rates are affecting affordability, and thus why we are seeing such an increase in the affordable segment of row townhouses and condos. Total residential benchmark pricing has only come down about 4% compared to the historical highs that we were seeing earlier on in the year, and remains 8.6% higher than this time last year. There's much negativity in the press about the Canadian real estate market due to rising inflation. The Bank of Canada has increased the overnight interest rate by another 0.5% increase, finishing off the year at 4.25% for the overnight interest rate. 2022 saw the Bank of Canada hit the economy with 7 increases to the target overnight interest rate in the span of March to December. This was a total increase of 3.75%. These aggressive interest rate hikes have affected real estate Canada-wide, bringing down prices and overall sales. Alberta has been a beacon of light, withstanding these interest rate hikes, unlike other places within Canada who have seen a larger impact as a result. Meanwhile, Alberta and Calgary specifically continue to withstand these interest rate hikes, and we are still able to see stability within the market.
So why and how is Calgary maintaining stability and even seeing growth when the majority of Canada is in sharp declines? Well, there's a few reasons for this, and one of the most important reasons is migration. In fact, Calgary has seen historical amounts of net migration over the past year. In fact, of the second quarter of 2022, we saw a net migration of 34,883. This is actually the highest level of net migration in our historical records, at least since we started keeping track of it in 1950. So let's peel back the onion on net migration and try to get some perspective. In 2006, the population of Alberta was 3.4 million people. Fast forward to this year, it's estimated that there is 4.54 million people in Alberta alone, which is 1/3 more than 2006. Now, we all know that 2006 was a boom in Alberta. We saw large amounts of migration, we saw housing prices up, and the economy was in very good shape. So if we're comparing where we are now to 2006, so in the second quarter of this year alone, we actually had a higher ratio of net population increase than in the peak of 2006. So we can see that migration is having a large impact on Alberta and in particular Calgary. We see tons of buyers bringing in money from specifically Ontario and Vancouver to our markets. And what this is doing is increasing demand for properties in the real estate market in Calgary. There's so much Calgary has to offer because it's so affordable. We have lower tax rates. We're a very clean, desirable city to live in. We're close to the mountains. We have less commutes as people are used to in Ontario. So for all those reasons, it's drawing all these people from all across Canada into Calgary and Alberta. So based on that, another reason why Calgary is maintaining stability and also seeing growth in a lot of areas is due to our second reason, which is an increase in investment buyers. Our last big crash in Alberta and Calgary in particular was in 2014. When oil prices plummeted and it withdrew a lot of companies, head offices, and employees out of downtown, which dropped our property prices in Calgary. And as a result, we never fully recovered from those times. So comparatively speaking to some of the other bigger cities in Canada, such as Toronto and Vancouver, we are still extremely affordable place to live and buy real estate. In fact, in Calgary, the average condo sales price is around $297,000. When you compare that to the big cities such as Toronto, where they have an average sale price of $720,000, and if we compare that to Greater Metro Vancouver, who has an average sale price of $769,000, you can see buying an apartment in Calgary is way less than half of what you'd have to spend in Toronto or Vancouver, so we're a way more affordable place to buy real estate. In fact, most investment buyers who are buying condos for investment properties in Toronto or Vancouver, they're generally not cash flowing properties. Usually they're just buying them in the hopes that they'll gain equity over a long period of time, and they're just having a cheaper mortgage as a result. Whereas in Calgary right now, because rents are up 25 to 30% over last year, and the prices are so much lower than Toronto and Vancouver, you can get a property that actually has cash flow and you can realize equity over the long term as well, which is very appealing to outside investors. We also have very favorable tenancy laws to landlords in Alberta, as opposed to BC and Ontario, which favor the tenant. So here, landlords have a little bit more protection, and they have more recourse if they have a tenant that's defaulting in payments, or doing illegal activity, or if they need to get them out of their property for whatever reason. It's a lot easier to do that in Alberta than it is in Ontario and BC. We also have less taxes than Ontario and BC. We don't have land transfer taxes in Alberta, and you do have that in Ontario and BC. So this is another draw to investors to Alberta and Calgary, is because they can pay less taxes, which obviously increases their bottom lines. Another main reason why Calgary is maintaining stability and also experiencing growth compared to other Canadian cities is we have a very expanding and growing tech sector in this city. The city and the mayor has devoted a huge amount of investment into drawing tech companies into our city. They've invested in infrastructure, in training, and many different ways to draw in tech companies and head offices to our city, as well as cheap office space here. So there's already many big companies that have pledged to open office space in Calgary, such as IBM, Amazon, Infosys. These are all big companies that are coming to Calgary, opening up offices, hiring employees, and we're just at the very beginning of the tech sector spike in Calgary. It's going to take a few years before it fully, revolutionizes. But yeah, we're kind of at the beginning, and it's only going to continue to grow from here. We've already seen high-profile announcements from RBC and IBM on innovative centers that they're opening up in Calgary. And we've also had news that cryptocurrency firm Binance, as well as New Zealand company Xerox, has also pledged to invest in our city. And as already discussed, Amazon Web Services has already announced that they're opening a huge data center in Calgary in 2023. So these companies are being drawn to Calgary because of cheap office space and short-term rental options, as well as a huge access to qualified and educated employees. So these companies expanding and opening our city are leading to a huge growth in employment, jobs, which is also going to have effects on our real estate market. So we can see that Calgary is drawing a huge amount of people to our province and to our city because of all these reasons I mentioned above. And we're seeing that in stats as, we're seeing the data on how much migration we're actually pulling in, which is a lot, and it's at historical levels, which I previously mentioned. On top of that, life doesn't stop just because interest rates rise. Marriages still happen, divorces still happen, upsizing still happens, downsizing still happens. Families have kids that go to college and need places to live, or families move here and need places to live. So for all these reasons, the real estate market just doesn't stop, and it's continued to grow and flourish in our city despite the rising interest rates. Now, as we head into 2023, I think there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand for Calgary real estate and Calgary housing as we enter into the 2023 market. In fact, Royal LePage and RE/MAX have both released their 2023 market outlooks, and they're both predicting a rise in sales and a rise in pricing in 2023. In fact, RE/MAX has specifically stated that prices will rise by 7% and sales will rise by 12% in 2023 alone. So there's a lot of pent-up demand and buyers waiting to buy because they're waiting for the bottom of the market, and there's only going to be a short period of time where buyers can wait before they actually think, okay, now is enough's enough, we have to buy. And all that demand that's been waiting and pent up is going to buy, and the spring in 2023 is definitely going to raise in pricing and sales as a result. So if you are one of those buyers waiting for the market to drop or to fall, I do think that now and over the next 2 months until we hit the spring of 2023, we are at the bottom of the current market. So now is the time to buy if you want to realize that full equity gain. Also, if you don't want to compete against other buyers in the market, now is a great time to buy. And if you don't want to continue waiting, you will see prices raise and you will be paying more for your property. So now is the time to buy a property or an investment property. And if you need help or direction on where to go in that respect, then feel free to hit up me by email, text, phone, DMs, or my team, and we're always happy to help. So yeah, we didn't want to bring in too many stats into this month's market report because I feel like there's more important things to paint a picture of in terms of where the market's headed and where we are now, which I hope we painted pretty well for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you liked our video, feel free to subscribe to our channel if you like what we have to say, and always reach out if you have any questions about the market or real estate in general, because my team and I, we are always happy to help. Give us a follow on our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you're on. Feel free to follow us there as well. We do some awesome property tours, market updates, and just highlights of Calgary and our city as we know it. Thanks a lot for watching.